New Legio Custodes incoming. In this week's Sunday preview, we get to see the individual kits for the Legio Custodes, including the kits that were released in their Battle Force that came out on April 4th, as well as some other kits that were not included in that box. These items will go up for pre-order on April 11th and be available on April 25th. So first up, we have the Shield Captain. Now, traditionally, you made the Shield Captain out of one of the troops from your Custodian Guard or Wardens or your Alaris if you were doing a Terminator Captain, but now they will have an individual model. This is here. It looks like a nice sculpt. It has two heads only, so you only get this head or the helmet, and does not seem to have any other options. Has an Eternity Blade and Presidium Shield, and can be a Shield Captain or Tribune in Horus Heresy. In 40k, this would just be a Shield Captain. Up next, we have the Custodian Guard Sodality. These are your spear troops. They are very similar to Wardens with spears. The Wardens currently have spears or axes, whereas these, I believe, only come with spears. You also get a Vexilla. This set comes with 12 helmeted and 11 unhelmeted heads. The Sentinel Guard Sodality is your sword and shield troop, very similar to the Custodian Guard, although Custodian Guard can also have spears. I believe you could use those interchangeably fairly easily. These also have the more robes and cloaks that the Wardens have as opposed to the Custodian Guard. But with sword and shield, if you were going to use these in 40k as opposed to just in Horus Heresy, you could run these easily as Custodian Guard. Because Wardens do not get sword and shield. This set comes with 7 unhelmeted heads and 6 helmeted heads with interchangeable plumes, which they don't call out on the Custodian Guard Sodality, so that may be limited to the Sentinel Guard Sodality instead. There are also 6 unique shields that are interchangeable across your infantry here. There's also a different Vexilla compared to the Custodian Guard Sodality. I guess from this preview that these are 2 separate sprue as opposed to one combined sprue with different options. It is odd that they call out on the Sentinel Guard Sodality that the plumes are interchangeable, but they don't for the Custodian Guard Sodality. So that's odd. They also have more options for the Custodian Guard Sodality versus the Sentinel Guard Sodality. Initially, I would have thought these were going to be the same kit. So it's a little odd, but I'm not sure. So we will find out when they come out. There is also the Venatari Sodality. I guess that's what they're calling squads now for the Custodians. These are their jump troops. They look really cool. I've always thought these were cool. These used to only be available in Forge World resin. They are now available in plastic. Looks like they have spear options as well as pistol options with shields. The unit size is 3 to 6. Can be armed for ranged combat with a kinetic destroyer paired with a Tarsus buckler, or they can have a melee lance. They have apparently some interchangeable wings and shoulder pads as well as head options. I will say it does not look from the image here that the heads have a full helmet option, which would be very disappointing. But they may just not show them here, but I'm wondering if perhaps they don't have a full helmet option. And they, of course, all have their little tactical rocks to be leaping off of. Personally, I think that's an improvement over the flight stands. I don't particularly care for the flight stands. I would rather have the tactical rocks. They can also have a Neutronium Cascade Mine for an anti-vehicle option. I don't know if that will also apply in 40k. I doubt it, but I'll discuss that more towards the end. There's also the Custodian Dreadnought. This was included in the launch box and could build the spear as well as the sword and shield version. So it is one kit here. And I mentioned that because we'll see momentarily where there's something where you'd think it'd be one kit, but it is 2. However, this one is supposed to be a single kit, just with 2 options. With 2 variants, the Contemptor Achilles, armed with Spear and Lastrum Stormbolter, and Infernus Incinerator, or a Drathic Combi Destructor mounted on each arm, or the sword-wielding Contemptor Galatus. this is supposed to be pretty posable as well. So very cool looking. This used to also only be available in Forge World resin, so it is very nice that it is available in plastic. I think this is a stepped up over the standard Contemptor, because they can also take the vulnerable Contemptor Dreadnought, but I think that always looks more like a Rock'em Sock'em robot, whereas this looks like an actual Dreadnought. Up next, we have the Coronus Grav-Carrier. This, again, used to only be available in Forge World resin. It is now available in plastic. This is their troop carrier. It can carry a full 6-man squad with officer, so 7 models in there, and has a Arachnus Blaze Cannon, and either a Lastrum Bolt Cannon or Neutronium Cascade Projector. I would guess that Up next, we have the Caladius Grav Tank. This kit is the one I mentioned moments ago, where it looks like it should be one kit, because there's also the Caladius Annihilator. But first, we'll look at the Grav Tank, just the standard Caladius. I think this looks really cool. It's got 2 gigantic guns on top. It's got a gun in the front, and it's the Custodian Hover Tank, which I think just looks really cool. It still obviously looks like the old Forge World Caladius tank. Again, this used to be available in Forge World resin and is now in plastic, which is great. This has the standard Caladius Grav tank has Iliastus accelerator cannons and can also have a twin Lastrum Bolt Cannon or twin Neutronium Cascade Projector, and that's going to be your gun in the front. I would guess this is the Neutronium Cascade Projector, and this is the twin Last Cannon, but that could be backwards. I do like the gigantic guns on top of this. That looks cool. Then we have the Caladius Annihilator Grav Tank. This option was available in the launch box. This swaps out the twin Iliastris Accelerator Cannon for a twin Arachnus Blaze Carronade. And again, you get the same choice of gun in the front. Now, this is a separate kit from this. And that's going to be because this top part, the turret, is going to probably be a different sprue. And I'm guessing that because that's the same thing they do with the Repulsor and the Repulsor Executioner, is it's 2 separate kits, one of which is more expensive because the turret is different. So I'm guessing that's going to be the same here. It is not a dual build kit. This turret here is a little smaller than this big one here. They both look great, though. Really like the tanks in this. For the last bit of pre-orders, we have something from the Black Library. We have Zardu Layak, the Crimson Apostle. This is by Rich McCormick and is a word bearer novel. So there's also the limited edition as well. Of course, this will be a limited supply, available while stocks last. So if you do want this limited cover art, I wish you the best of luck. They tend to go very quickly. So then there's some additional Warhammer Plus content on how we roll, talking about the Raven Guard, as well as some Deep Strike, talking to Weta Workshop about the statues they make, and some color masterclasses. Unfortunately, if you are in Japan, the pre-orders will be delayed. I did pick up the launch box, although I have not received it yet. It is in transit to me as of filming this, so I hope to have that before next weekend, and I will at least take a look at the models, kind of look at what comes in the box, give you guys a better look at some of the sprue for these models. I do have Custodes from when I was playing them in 9th edition, so it'll be interesting to do an actual comparison of the models. Anyway, that's it for this week. Those are the pre-orders. Again, those will be up for pre-order on April 11th. Actual release on April 25th. I am considering picking up a box of the Venatari. Personally, I'm not sure if I will pick that up. They've always looked cool, and I've kind of wanted them for a while. But they were in Forge World resin, and I refused. As we come into a new edition, there is the question of, will these be available in 40k? Obviously, you could substitute models very easily, right? You can use the Shield Captain as a Shield Captain. That's very easy. You can use these troops as either Custodian Guard or Wardens very easily. Same for the Sentinel Guard sodality. You could very easily use as Custodian Guard with Sword and Shield. But things like the Venatari, Dreadnoughts, and the tanks are a little more up in the air. Currently, they are not in the Codex. They are not available in the app. You would have to, I believe, download the rules from the Warhammer website. But we don't know what will happen in 11th edition. So I hope they will be included in the Adeptus Custodes army for 40k in 11th edition. They will just be rolled into the Codex and just be available in both Horus Heresy and 40k. I would not bank on that happening. I think there is a possibility that they remain Horus Heresy only, and they don't tend to have a large amount of kits that are cross game system. So like mostly there's demons and the current custodes. So there, for custodes, I think there is a chance. If this was a different army, I would say there's no chance at all, personally. But for custodes, I think there is a chance that these will get rolled into the main custode army in 11th. But that's a guess. That's not a guarantee. I don't have any extra information. That is just my guess on this. I would hope they are. But I would also hope that when these release, they just upload them to the Warhammer app. But there's a chance they won't do that either. So it's kind of up in the air. So if you do get them to use them in 40k, or you were planning to do that, just understand that there is a chance that they will not be in 40k in 11th edition. I hope that's not the case, but it is a possibility. Well, that's all I've got for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave me your thoughts on these new Custodes models in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.